A Novice Swordsman in the Canterlot Court by Dungeon Miner. Ch.2 Fiction. Lieutenant Civil Patrons, who had been adamant against any sort of accusation that even hinted at him being scared at the being next to him, but he decided that instead he would only be slightly annoyed if anybody mentioned he was uneasy about the human. It was an odd thing. Almost twice as tall as himself, with a black mane, almost no fur to speak of, and very small brown eyes. He had some fur around his chin, and under that thing stuck out of his face that Silver could only guess was a nose. "What month is it?" the human asked, emptying his pack of clothes, crushing boxes, and what looked like a metal tube from his saddlebag. I guess you can call it that. They were outside on one of the inner walls. Silver was impatient to be done with the assignment and eager to get Alan to his room. It is currently early September. Silver answered, smirking as he watched the human then empty water out of his bag. The running of the leaves is coming up. It is. Alan looked straight up at the sky, his claws moving off fastened as they bobbed up and down. Was the Gallon Gala a big hit last year? Silver caught his head at that. What kind of being suddenly appears out a sovereign's ceiling, produces mass chaos for brief seconds with him there, gains the favor of said sovereign, then proceeds to busy himself with the political reports of parties? The guy was a massive hit with the nobles. What no one would call a disaster? No. Interesting. So at least I get to experience season 2, he said before mumbling to himself about coma again. The coma talk was tiring. Silver at first thought it was perhaps a mistake on the part of the human, meaning to say he may have been perhaps mind controlled, or some other sort of nonsense to experience any responsibility. However, the way he kept on going on about it seemed to just different. Silver now guessed that the creature was convinced he was in a coma on the verge of death and had been stuck here in Equestria as some sort of purgatory. Honestly, Silver thought there was alternatives. Which way is north? The human asked, murmuring about something about forgetting his compass. That way, Silver said, pointing his hoof. The human then took another look at the sky. So it's the afternoon? Yes, around 3. Alan grunted, pleased that he was able to guess that before adjusting his watch. He suddenly stopped, though, as another question entered his mind. Is a day here 24 hours? Silver blinked. What kind of question was that? Well, a day is not 24 hours? By Luna Silver Suits, if Celeste herself had not given the order, he would have left this stupid being right where he stood. Yes, a day had 24 hours, he said, doing his best to keep the sarcasm out of his voice. Good, I would have to have hate for it to be changed. It would screw me over in so many ways. Silver Patrons rolled his eyes. Alright, that seems to be everything. Flashlight works with clothes, toiletries, rope, and backpack needs to be dry. Granola needs to be repacked. Microwave the meals need to be cooked and dealt with immediately. There probably won't be be the first things to go until I can find something in the pony diet that will suit me. Is that everything? I don't know, Silver answered. Alan said, turning to the white stallion and golden armor. Oh, sorry, I was just talking to myself. I do that. Although I guess talking to you is talking to myself anyways. More crazy talk. Alan reached for the large bump that has formed the back of his head. I should know better, he muttered before saying, can I get to the room I'll be staying in? I need to drop these off and let them dry. This way, Silver answered before heading off. Alan followed his pack, now a greater state of disrepair than it started. Canterlot Castle was much bigger than Alan thought, and Canterlot town itself was a city bordering on the edge of being a metropolis. The city sprawled across the mountainside, held level by level upon level of balconies, each supporting enough houses to shelter all of Ponyville, or he thought so. Anyway, he had really seen Ponyville, so he couldn't be sure. The castle, although, were far more impressive. One look, you could see that the palace has been built for aesthetics, but at the same time, Alan could find choke points and killing fields and murder holes and battlements, and anything else you need to hold a fortress. It was actually quite impressive, not to mention the architect itself had beautiful arches and pillars, each made from the same pure white marble he had seen in the throne room. It was a shame it wasn't real. This was all his brain somehow, and had come through in the medium of places that were also fictional. Everything he would experience here could be something derived from his own experiences. Anything that could have been presented differently is all. If he were to get crushed, then it would feel like someone was sitting on him. If that someone weighed 40,000 pounds. But then again, it would be rather insightful to see how his brain would come up with inspirations for anything, for things. Sir, he said to the pony that was leading him to his room, can I ask you a question? No one has stopped you so far. Fair enough. My question is, how do ponies grab things? Silver shot him a glance. Excuse me? With your hooves, how do you grab something? I mean, yeah, unicorns have magic, but how do Pegasus and ponies manipulate things? Manage objects. Silver blinked. Suddenly, he wanted another how many hours in the day question. I'm not sure, actually. I never really thought about it. It just sort of happens. Alan sighed. He had hoped that his subconscious would have been more creative than that. He was expecting anything bulletproof, but it would have been nice to have a little aspiration. I can answer that, a familiar voice said behind him. Alan turned his head to see Twilight Sparkle, leading the main six, following him at a distance. Hey girls, Alan said with a smile. How are my favorite ponies? Did not seem to take that too well, backing up in an awkward attempt to flinch without appearing to be offended. Well, I said from Pinkie Pie, who bounced forward. Are we really your favorite? Alan smiled. Of course you are. Pinkie smiled, bouncing high, letting off a high-pitched squeak giggle. I knew you guys would like me. You guys? Alan asked. Yeah. I seen you guys before. y'all all right there," she said, pointing straight at the wall that he was walking next to. Look," she said, getting real close. "There's another one. He has blonde hair. Ooh. And that one has an awesome mustache. That one has a clock behind him. Oh. And that one has a shirt with rainbow on it." Alan approached the wall. "Pinky, is this the fourth wall?" "Yes, no, it was. But now it's over there," she said, pointing up past the sky. "It's hard to tell when they change cameras angles like that." Alan laughed. "Yes, you definitely are Pinkie Pie." "Well, of course I am. Silly Willie. Who else I would be? Certainly not Bloody Pie or Green Pie or Potpourri Pie." Alan laughed again. "Come here, you round little thing, you." With a big swoop of his arms, he swept up the pink pony in a hug. The rose ball of innocence squealed in delight as he burst into laughter. She was far lighter than he had expected, but that really only made things easier. Made it easier to hug the small thing. It was such a shame this wasn't real. But that thought must have made it to his face, because Pinky looked straight at him with a worried look in her eyes. "Are you okay?" He looked at her pale blue eyes staring at him in worry. The words he had said so many times now couldn't come to his throat. He couldn't tell her that she was frantic of his imagination, a project projected on a backdrop of a TV show his brain had come up with because he was positively bored. He couldn't tell her that. Whatever broke her heart, her fictitious little heart. "Yeah, I'm fine, just thinking about home," he said. Pinky jumped out of his arms. "Well, no need to go all mopey-wopey on us. I can give you a cheer you up to forget homesickness party in a snap. Come on," she said, before bounding away to the kitchen. Alan chuckled. "Pinky, I got to put my stuff up first." Lieutenant Parton sighed before poking up slightly. "Certainly. Sir, I'll gladly take your items to your room for you." Alan smiled. "Really, thanks. Could you please make sure to lay everything out so it could dry? So it dries?" "Of course, sir. Thank you, sir," Alan said, laying his pack on before the salon. "All right, let's party," he yelled before running after the pink male. The other 5 males hesitated for a second. For one, Applejack said, "Well, I reckon he's friendly." He did to Pinky's manners fairly quickly, Realty mentioned. Twilight said nothing but followed the two party-goers, driven on once more by curiosity for the odd being that seemed to know so much about him. This thing had and eventually became her next pet project, and she was going to figure this one out or die trying, in the name of science, of course. So with Twilight leading, the 4 other ponies followed, and feeling somehow as though they were marching to their doom. Silver Portions watched them go, and once every pony was out of sight, he sighed. "Sign up for the military," they say. "It's a good start," they say. "It's easy," they said. Grabbing the bag's straps in his mouth, he heaved it onto his back. "If I see my recruiter again, I'm going to kick his flank." Scenes changed. Pinky jumped straight for the bakery of the kitchen, passing 3 very disgruntled cooks, including one that Alan assumed was the copper pots that Celeste mentioned. Wonderful, he yelled. Absolutely wonderful. Never mind me, never mind the fact that I have to cook for a staff of 400. Go ahead, make my kitchen a mess. Go on. Of course, the second chestnut stallion he saw was the chestnut stallion saw was the 5'11" bipedal creature, and he silently himself. They moved off to the side and out of the way of the human and began to mumble. Celeste never said he would be so tall. The kitchen was carved from the same marble that had been everywhere else, giving the entire place a bright, cheery feeling. The walls had been covered with a few tapestries, mostly simple pieces, powered to trap the heat in the room. Other than that, it wasn't that much different from a restaurant kitchen. Long white counters with a mismatch of cutlery and food here and there. All of it caught somewhere in the middle between ingredients and entree. If Copperpots thought this wasn't a mess, Alan wondered what he thought one looked like. With the head cook now out of the way, Pinky began to bake cupcakes at an amazing rate, getting the batter done in seconds. This pie would take an easy bit of a long time, says Pinky said, throwing the sudden complete batter into the oven. So we got the party in the meantime. Alan smut. Alright, party is then. Twilight interjected, just now coming into the room. Actually, Pinky, why don't you get the other girls started on a game? I still have to answer his questions. Okie dokie Loki, Pinky said before pulling out a tarp with a pony picture on it. Who's up for pin the tail of the pony? As Pinky rounded up, Applejack, Realty, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, Alan took a seat on the bench, and he was quickly joined by Twilight. Smooth, Twilight, smooth, Alan mumbled. What? Nothing, Alan said, waving it off. So how do Pegasi Earth ponies manage to manipulate things with their hooves? Oh well, Twilight began. It should be first known that all ponies can in fact use magic. The degree of manipulation, however, is entirely dependent on the medium of the magic. Twilight suddenly closed her eyes, appearing reciting this lecture by heart. Magic has 4 total mediums: alicorn, feathers, hair, and hoof. Alicorns are the most powerful, alicorn being the substance of which a unicorn horn is made of. In fact, the name of the species that the princesses or have come about due to a misunderstanding where primitive Christian scientists, seeing the power of the princesses, assumed that the entire skeletal structure was composed of alicorn, thus the species name. Twilight was smiling as he spoke, taking pride in remembering so much, oblivious to the fact that Rainbow Dash had just won the first round of Pin the Tail. Rainbow gave a triumphant yell before passing the tail to Applejack. Second, Feathers, she continued. Magic is much less powerful in feathers than alicorn, limiting itself only to direct weather manipulation, as well aids for flight, including cloud walking. All studies show that this magic is completely subconscious, and Pegasi are the most time unaware of ever using magic at all. Third, hail magic is far less powerful than feather magic, and one can use to indirectly manipulate tangible objects by forcing the hail into something akin to a fifth limb. The longer the one's hail, the better. Applejack won this time, getting specifically closer to the rump of the pictured pony than last time. Finally, we have hooves. That this is easiest, the weakest form of magic in terms of raw power, but it is more powerful than hail magic, in that it can be used directly manipulate an object, while with hail one has to form the tail or mane to grasping device to manipulate an object. Hoof magic creates something similar to a vacuum in order to manipulate the object directly. She opened her eyes, smiling and apparently waiting for some sort of sign that she had pressed the newcomer. He gave the newcomer a smile. "Read that book many times, have you?" He chuckled. "Thanks for the answer, by the way." Twilight did her best to hide the offended look that hit her face with a smile. "So I answered one of your questions, that can answer one of mine." Whoa, Alan said. "Sound like to me that princess that doesn't want any pony ask me any questions until she asks me first." "Yeah," Twilight said, "but if she knew you were, she so obviously has some insight to your culture, so she probably not going to ask you anything related to that." Clever girl. Alan was about to retort with a negative when he noticed a further side slowly approaching him. Her head was hung low and she refused to make eye contact, but nonetheless she approached. This probably the closest he had ever been to the shy Pegasus, and he was sure that it would take a lot of time before he ever get this close again. She spoke in the tiniest whisper. "Mr. Human, could you please answer some questions? That is, if you want to." If you ask, Alan will tell you he used to have the willpower, but then he met First Eye. Of course, now that both Twilight and Shy was begging the human for some answers, the rest was soon to follow. "Yeah," the rainbow main Pegasus cried, hovering over his head. "Give us some details, man. You seem to know us." "Well, and we want to know you." "Quite, darling," Realty Pet. "It is rather rude of you not to let us know anything about you when you seem to know so much about us." "And while I don't normally agree with frou-frou manners and the like, I got a couple of questions I've been itching to ask you," Absat said. "Oh, are we playing 20 questions about our lives? I love that game," the pink baker added. Alan looked at all the 6 ponies that surrounded him. Each one of them begged him, without speaking a single word more, which was worse than what was that could happen. It's not like he was going to tell them anything too important. It seems I have no choice then. Alright, who wants to go first? 5 hooves quickly shot up into the air, while 6 hesitantly followed. Alright, Twilight, you go first, since you probably had the most questions, and the most we are going to get out of the way, the better. The purple unicorn squeaked. "Oh, this is exciting! A whole new culture to experience." Okay. Question. Okay, Alan. Is Alan alright? "Are you sure you want that to be your question?" Alan asked, smiling as the unicorn glanced. "I'm kidding. Yes, that's right. Alan's my name." Okay, Alan. What is your system of government?" "We have a democratic republic." "What does that mean?" Rainbow asked. "It means that everybody now everybody gets to vote on certain things, whether it is the law or the ruler. People get to pick, and everyone gets their say. Is it like that everywhere? Twilight asked. No. And before you ask another question, it's someone else's turn. Twilight humped before passing the weighted baton. It was instantly picked up by Pinky. Ooh, do you homies party? Alan laughed. Yes, we humans party, sometimes too much. Nonsense, you can never party too much, Pinky said. Rarity, it's your turn. Thank you, dear. Now, Mr. Allen, why are you wearing those clothes? They don't look particularly fashionable. Fabulous. What kind of meeting were you going to that required to dress so disappointingly? Alan chuckled again. Well, Miss Rarity, it should be first noted that humans, due to a few more anatomical differences, wear clothes all the time for the sake of both modesty as protection. Alan noticed the unicorn's eyes light up at the thought of a whole race that wore clothes every second of the day. Particularly, the clothes were picked for a camping trip. I honestly wasn't expecting to meet royalty today. If I were, I probably would have worn my suit. The image of him walking through the forest in his gray two-piece suit made Alan chuckle. Alright, next. Do you like animals? Fluttershy whispered. Alan smiled. Of course I do. My favorite animal is a dog. In fact, I would have one for a pet if my apartment didn't outright forbid them. Oh, that is so sad. You couldn't have a pet. I could get one for you if you want. First I said, her voice getting a touch easier to hear. Well, let me worry about getting back first. If I can, then maybe I'll stop by Ponyville real quick and pick up something. Oh, okay, she said, smiling. As this made Fluttershy smile. This is a good day. He knew this was all a dream. His brain shot back. Alright. I do believe in my turn, Applesat said. Now, what in Christian do y'all humans eat? We're going to get there eventually. Well, that one's a bit hard to answer. You see, humans are omnivore. We eat everything. We eat fruit, vegetables, bugs, breads, but a big part of our diet is in fact meat. Total silence. Although I wasn't worried about it too much. Most of the meat we eat isn't sapient and doesn't really think the way you or I do. Besides, it came on feeding me cupcakes would be totally fine, he said, smiling, doing his best to diffuse the situation. More silence. That reminds me, I should probably get those cupcakes, Pinky said. You don't eat ponies by any chance, do ya? Applesat asked, her ears flat underneath her stallion, her Stetson. No, never, Alan said. The only documented times when humans eat any equine were normally when they were starving to death. Yeah, I'm a long way from there. Besides, you guys are too much to eat, or too cute to eat. The down the party suddenly spring to mind. I think we should best pick a different topic. Everyone agreed, just as Pinky returned with the cupcakes. So, Rainbow Dash, what's your question? Rainbow hovered close to his face, looking straight in his eye. How cool are you? Alan smiled. Cool enough to do this. Turning, he reached for 3 foreign knives on his belt. Instantly, finding a target in an old wooden beam that was 30 feet away. With a flick of his wrist, a knife went sailing, hitting the beam dead center. Then were followed by his brothers, each hitting the beam in the center, making a vertical line of thrown steel. Rainbow Dash nodded at the display. I approve. As he retrieved his knives, answering more questions as time went on. He talked about his life, his job. He briefly touched on his family before redirecting that conversation elsewhere. He talked about Georgia. He talked about soda. He talked about Walmart and toast and camping and granola. He briefly spoke of TV and the internet. And more briefly on fast food restaurants. He told him about computers, bicycles, keyboards, cars. Any detail they asked, he would tell them. And check his watch. 11:24 p.m. Well, girls, this chat was great, but I should be getting to bed. There will be more explaining tomorrow. Oh man, you was just getting to the good stuff about those ninja guys. Rainbow whined. And I want to hear more about the national parks. I would love to hear more about the fashion, darling. I want to hear about clubbing. I would like to hear more about this vacuum machine that picked apples. And this George Washington character fascinates me. Do you have any books on the subject? On another day, guys, another day. A collected moan echoed through the main 6. Come on, it's nearly midnight, and we all have to see Celestia tomorrow. Go on, go to your rooms. We'll talk more later, I promise. The males left in a single file, each murmuring to each other about the discoveries of this new world Alan has come from. Once they all left, Alan followed after, smiling. It was a real shame none of this was real. Not a second of it. Alan wandered for a bit, trying to find his room. He suddenly realized he had no idea. Well, that was because the lieutenant was supposed to lead him there. Alan mentally slapped himself for that one. Way to go, genius. You had someone assigned to you, then you let them go before they were finished working. Brilliant, Alan. Brilliant. I seen was a short voice said behind him. Alan turned. Sure enough, the lieutenant was right there, standing stock still at the hint of having a better attitude. Oh, really? Alan asked. Someone worse than me? Yes, a prince, actually. The guard said, leading the way. The foe wasn't shut up. Oh, you must lead me to the so-and-so house before the late tea appointment. You nothing compared to that guy. Alan smiled. I'm gonna take a guess. Is his name Blue Blood? Patrons gave him a look. How did you know? Let's say he's so bad even humans know it. Patrons chuckled. You know, human, you're not half bad. Thanks, Alan says, but please call me Alan. Then call me Silver, you know. When I'm not in the presence of officers, they don't take first names that well. Will do, Alan said. Well, here we are, Silver said, motioning down the corridor. The door to the left. I'll come pick you up when the princes want you. Alright, thanks again, Silver. Now, night, Alan. Night, the human replied, heading down the room to the room. Opening the plain wooden door, Alan walked into this dark room. He spotted an oil lamp in the corner. Its flame burned with almost no fuel, just enough to keep it alight. Looking the lamp over, he found the glass valve and gave it a good twist. The room lit up with the flames light, and Alan took a quick look at the room. It was roughly 10 by 10. It had a bed that was too small for him. On the bed was his clothes, laid out neatly to dry. They were dry and ready to wear now. Alan quickly folded them up and looked for something to lay them on. Found a counter with a pitcher, bowl, and a mirror on it. Next to the bowl lay his toiletry bag. Alan laid the clothes there next to his bag. Using the water in the pitcher, Alan brushed his teeth and stripped to his boxers and undershirt. Climbing into bed, Alan suddenly sighed. He forgot his sleeping bag. Why did he keep on remembering things after the fact? Oh well, that it doesn't matter. I'm sleeping in this bed. No, you're not. You're lucky You're lucky you're sleeping in the hospital cot. This isn't real. Remember that, Alan. No, none of this was real. Not picking, not reality, not fluorescence, not rainbow dust, not upset, not copper pots, not silver, not celeste, definitely not twilight. They weren't real. None of this was. And that was the ending of chapter 2. And we're about to start on the comments. Well, not actually comments, but if you know Dungeon Mariners works, you know what I'm talking about. Alright guys, comments, questions, and criticism, etc. I got one. Pinky, I said no. Said do not talk to me during the story. Silly Billy, this is after the story. It's all up there. I knew I should have hired a lawyer, but my question: how is did going out in Celestia get no to Equestria? Did you just fit 3 questions into one? Maybe. Next chapter, Pinky. I promise. See you next time, guys. And hey, if you dumbs this down, tell him why. You can't expect him to get better without telling him what's wrong. He's not a mind reader, you know. Pinky, stop harassing my readers. Okie dokie, bye. Oh, my head.